is lacking a lot, and
Oh, we're
how we
live.
address one another. Huh? Oh,
We're live now.
we are live. Okay.
Buenos días,
Good.
mi gente.
I know, and you're still lagging. You're like coming on in and out. It's
I'm
okay.
like, I'm like this. Look, this is
I know.
me, robot man today.
So Ed, good morning, everybody. Ed is in.
Good morning.
Can we say it in Spanish? In el culo del mundo, someplace in
And
America.
and
Where are
West
you? In
West
the
Bubble
mountains of
Fudge.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm out here in the
Happy
wilderness
birthday.
trying to become a wildebeest. Thank you, Gigi.
Yeah. Did you have a go? This is your birthday, your weekend, right? I hope you're gonna enjoy it. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it by doing some open houses.
Where? In the woods?
No, I'm going back today. I go back this afternoon.
Ah, so that was a
Yeah,
quick stint. Okay.
yeah.
All right,
My
no
buddy
big deal.
invited me over. We
Good,
hung
good,
out, we
good.
chilled, and
So I guess let's talk about today's subject about real estate etiquette, right? Which you wanted to discuss. Mainly based out of, let me put it nicely. We work in a very competitive industry. We've been
yes,
subject to a lot of changes,
yes.
and in our neck of the woods, we tend, and as a whole, as agents, to be very, very not only competitive, but it's a jungle out there. I would say a lot of the times there is a lot of lack of professional courtesy, and I think this you had a little bit of a frustrating moment this week, and you probably wanted to address certain things. And I thought, why don't do a what not to do, and remind everybody that we're still professionals, and there are some courtesies, professional courtesies that need to be extended.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Excuse my lagging, excuse my I guess my internet. Um but this week was interesting. We had a funny, I wouldn't say situation, but um when you're listing a property, I would right by your clients and want to show the property as much as possible to get the best purchaser, right? Does that make sense,
Okay.
Gigi, or am I still breaking up?
Okay, let me try to repeat. So when you're making an appointment for a buyer,
Yes.
okay, with another agent.
Wow, this internet's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
it's good.
what?
It's good. It's coming back. Go ahead,
Okay,
Tom.
cool. So what I was referring to was just that, right? Like you would think that if you're someone representing a seller, that you would want to try to book as many appointments as possible, get as many showings in as possible. You're trying to do right by your clients, right? In this case, it was pretty funny, man, and I'm sure this happens often out in the field, where you as an individual are reaching out for your client, right? In this moment, I'm on the buyer's end. So I was reaching out to this individual because my client wanted to see the property.
Right.
It took them 3 days to respond to me.
Mm.
Okay. And even when it took 3 days to respond to me, when they finally responded, and I'm like, hey, man, can I come see this property like today? Like, it was just like, well, we can probably do something next week, Tuesday. And I'm just like, okay, what time? Okay, fine. And when the time comes, I would hope that since you booked that time for your time slot, that you would honor it and complete that appointment, but not these folks. Not these folks. They tried to cancel the appointment. They tried to reschedule the appointment. So that's the reason why this topic came up, because I get it. We all have our life that we have to live. But if we're working, this is something that we should be on top of, right? I guess real estate etiquette. This is one of the things.
I think we also have to make the discernment that a lot of us do, unfortunately, work in a self-serving manner where, yes, we're representing the seller, but first we want to represent ourselves. which is not a good thing. Like, yes, you're right. When me working with a seller, I want to give as much accessibility to buyers as possible, and the seller needs
Correct.
to understand that. I want to create an atmosphere where, like, yes, it's conducive to offers being presented. So you want the house to look the best, you want
Mhm.
accessibility to be the best, you are open to conversation, especially with the new ruling as of today. A lot of, I mean, it's going to be reinforced that everything, pretty much everything, is negotiable. So you want to make sure that you open premises for that and say, here, guys, we're willing to sell, we're willing to hear you, we're willing to show you, just go for it. A lot of agents are still trying to, unfortunately, you know what it is, double end, as they say, keep things in house for themselves.
Oh
Not
yeah.
necessarily what's best for the seller, but what's best for themselves. I can tell you, I've been fighting for this for years. Like when it comes to even managing agents. Unfortunately, I'll be real, and this is like it could be a problem. But overall, I'm still very grateful that most agents are like yourself, Ed, professional and courteous, and it's good. It's a good thing. We still can work with each other. But we
Yep.
need to reinforce the rules, right? Respect is number
100%.
one,
Respect
right?
should be number one at the top of that
Yeah,
list. So show some courtesy and respect to some of your associates, even though we're not all a part of the same brokerage. I think
right.
it would be very kind of you to act as if we are brothers and sisters. So when
We
these
are we
moments,
are of the same profession, so in a way, we are in that respect brothers and sisters of
yeah,
that profession.
you know,
You
I
know,
agree.
and the respect comes with underlying things like do unto yourself as you want it done to others.
The
I mean, do
golden
unto
rule:
yourself as you want it done. Do unto others
do
as you
unto
want it.
others as you would want them to do unto you.
Yes, and then which includes consideration of your time, consideration of your being polite, courteous,
Hmm.
communicating. Like I'm seeing, which brings me to my attention, at least um only yesterday, having agents just introducing them by text. I'm an agent. My buyer wants to see that. I'm like, you're an agent, but who are you?
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to make an appointment on your behalf to that seller. And you can't just say an agent wants to see your house.
correct.
Doesn't work like that.
100%.
you
And
know?
and I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if it's just me, right? But let me know if this happens to you. Once that occurs, I'll be honest. I kind of get I'm not frustrated, but I'm just like, what is so hard if you're gonna send a text message or call someone to formally introduce yourself, who you are, what practice you're with, hey, instead sometimes I get these messages where they're just like, hey, is this available? Can I go see it tomorrow at 5 p.m.?
I know. I know. I know. I
And
know.
it's like, who, who are you? What's your name? Are you an agent? Are you a buyer? So something as small as that can actually determine where your conversation is going to go next, right? Because if you call me and you talk like that, I'm gonna be like, who the hell is this person, right? Not because I
Exactly.
think I'm better than whoever's calling me. No, not necessarily. It's just like, where's the level of common courtesy or etiquette where you would call and introduce yourself? Hey, good morning,
Right.
good afternoon. My name is Edward. I'm with
Yeah.
DXP Realty. I was calling about this property you have listed in XYZ Street. Is it still available? Is it easy to show? Like, let's
Right.
have this conversation. But guys, I get it.
I know.
Just
I know.
something so small, something so minute. Work on it.
And,
You would be
and this
amazed
is
at how much more
beyond.
people are intrigued to talk to you.
Right. And this is beyond differences in cultures and stuff like that. It's everybody you we I understand cultural differences, but those are not cultural differences. This is
Mhm.
common sense and common professional courtesy. And this goes beyond different, cultural differences as well.
100%.
Another thing that also I don't find fair when you clearly make mentions of the no time of, like notice time of, basically, like before when you make an appointment, you want to have enough notice. So a lot of the times I'm asking them to give me like a day's notice, especially when the
24
owners live
hour
there.
notice.
If we have keys, if it shows by lockbox, or somebody needs to come and pick up the key in the office, whatever, you can give me a 5 minutes heads up. If the key's there, it's fine. But if,
Hmm.
like, please give us, like, please give me a 24-hour notice, owner still lives in the unit, and you're like, I need a short notice, I'm around in the neighborhood with my client, I want to see, first of all, no. First of all, I have a standard operating procedure where I want to see your, we have in our office, I want to see your pre-approval. And for my sellers, um, and also as respect for my seller, I'm not just going to send anybody at the last minute. How is it
Correct.
going to make it look like?
Yeah.
And then the complaints and this, and I'm like, no, I just can't. I don't know if you agree. Um, and then on top of it, not only do you make the appointment at the last minute, but guess what? The agent is late. Not the buyer, the agent, right?
Yeah.
And you get no notice. How is this? Right?
It's true. Yeah, it's true. The other thing I would add to that is if you make the time, if you make the time to show your property, right? Like I kind of genuinely have an idea. Like if I'm showing a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom co-op apartment, that might take me 15, 20 minutes to show, right? If I'm showing a pretty big size house, right? It's probably going to take me an hour to show because they want to look at things, they want to touch things. There's more rooms, more floors, whatever the case is, right? So if you're going to book this time, isolate that time for the schedule. Don't bring people in, because this is the other part that happened, right? As I had to mention to these individuals that they had created this appointment. This appointment was based off of their time. They continued to tell me that they couldn't make it. I had to then say that my clients were coming from another state. They were already on their way, and I can't tell them to turn back now. They're already on their way. So
Yeah. But,
because of that,
but
which
there was a, yeah.
they weren't from out of town. They lived like in the next town over. But I had to say that in order for them to say, hey, all right, let's figure something out. So he sent his associate there, and his associate was rushing me on time. Hey, when are they going to get here? Hey, how long is it going to take? And he's just like, hey, can we check this out before you go outside? Like everything was rushed. So clearly the clients, my clients, felt that. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
felt that they were being rushed through the showing. And again, this isn't a small ticket item. We're looking at a large ticket item. So what do you mean you gotta hurry
Right.
up?
If it's, yeah,
Like
if it's a over, it's a 1.5 million property, and you're being told to be there, to just rush through in 10 minutes, that's not fair. I get it.
it was over 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't care what you have to do afterwards. Like we're showing this property, like you're gonna give them
I
the
mean, even if it was a
accessibility.
$500,000 property, I would apply the same
That's
courtesy.
the thing. Of
As long as
course,
you
give them the
need,
courtessy.
right.
Yeah,
And
again,
and
like I
then
said, if it's an apartment, it's gonna take less time for you to show. It's an apartment. But if we're looking at a large house, it's gonna take time. So the other thing I would say is, if you're blocking out time to do this, to do a showing, keep in mind that not everyone is on time, right? We live in New York City, so there's my text. We live in New York City, right? So what does that mean? There's always traffic. We're always gonna freaking get there late. So make some time for that. Coordinate. Priscilla's good at that. Priscilla loves showing up 15 minutes before
I
the
do. I
appointment.
account for traffic. I really map out I
Yeah,
map out my travel. I time it.
I'm the kind of guy
I,
that I race my GPS. If my GPS says I'm gonna get there at exactly the time that I was supposed to be there, I'm racing it. You know what I mean? It's not good. It's not good. I'm not gonna sit here and say
no,
that's great. That's
no.
terrible. And when I get there early, I'm excited because I'm like, yeah, look at that. I still got here early. But there's days where I do get caught and I get stuck, and then I have to then text everyone and say, hey, I'm running behind schedule. But even when that occurs, again, common courtesy, right? Hey Gigi, I'm running behind schedule. I'm so sorry. I'll get there as soon as possible. I hit some traffic, whatever the case is.
Right.
I gotta
One
turn
more
this.
thing I would also like to mention as a listing agent and what I'm seeing on a regular basis is,
Hmm.
and this is like, okay, those are my listings, I'm responsible for it. When they're vacant and another agent shows, if you're the other agent, the showing agent, it would be nice if you shut off the lights,
Oh my
turn
God.
off the lights, turn off the AC,
Captain
put back the
Obvious.
door, you know, um,
100%.
and so on, so forth. Yeah, and that happens, like, and sometimes it's like I don't want to have to do rounds of, and I don't have too many listings lately, so what do I have, like 3 4 listings at once, which is okay. But it's like, why would I want to go to, like, especially if the listing is available by key, I don't want to have to go 3 times a day and make sure the everything is put back together into that listing, and I not that I don't want to service my sellers. I would want to do the right thing, but it's
Yeah,
like a waste of time. It's like, and I think as agents we should be mindful,
100%. You should. You
because
should be
sometimes those,
mindful of everything.
huh?
You should be mindful of everything. Everything. The minute you get to the property, you should be aware of everything you turn on, everything you touch, everything you move. So when you're done, you can put everything back the way you found it before you let anyone in.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have a house, let me ask you, when you have a house and whether it's occupied or not, the seller is not there, and there is another agent coming to show, do you offer to do the showing, or you propose to them, like, do you want me to do the showing with you and show you all the features, or do you want to do it on your own?
It depends. If the seller's not if the tenants aren't there, like okay, if the sellers are there and I have to ask them to leave, then I'm doing the showing. If they come in and they're familiar with the property, or if they show up earlier before their clients and they ask me, "Hey, can I take a quick tour to see the property?"
Yeah.
I'll let them in, let them see the property. I'll even ask them, "Hey, do you want to take your clients on the tour, or would you rather me talk through it?"
Yeah.
Whatever they choose, you know.
Yeah.
But if the tenants are there, if this place is occupied and there's tenants there, then typically I'll ask the tenants to give them access if they're coming with their own agent. But then this
Yeah.
also falls into kind of what my fees for the services rendered are. You know what I mean? So if I'm giving white glove service, then yes, 100%. I don't
Yeah.
care who's going to see the property. I'm going to be there to give them access, give them the full tour, make sure I give them all the information I possibly have. So it
Right.
depends. If my schedule is too full and I gotta, and they have their own agent, there's tenants there, then of course, like, listen, I can't make it, but they can. That's fine.
They can. Yeah. Okay.
You know,
No, I
if
know.
the
I know.
property's
I know.
vacant, we put a lockbox on it. That's it.
Right. Yeah. 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 Um, what other issues have you encountered, or things that would be outside of? I'm trying to have, like, when there is a showing or an open house, I try to contain people in one group. I don't
Yes,
like when they just start
100%.
spreading around like that, and the agents are not. If especially if they have an agent, it's not that cool.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell the agent to, like, contain their buyer, especially with children. That's always another issue. I don't want to sound like the bad person.
We don't,
Um,
but we have to.
yeah. Other offers as okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of the agents, and this is one of the biggest complaint I have, that come to my office as a manager. When agents present offers, the listing agent does not even respond to the offer, doesn't give any information whether the offer was, it takes them like days. The agent has to hunt down that listing agent and then get either the hint that the offer was turned down, or nothing, or yeah, or the seller is saying that he's gonna counter tomorrow, and it's like, why didn't you tell us? Do you
Yeah.
encounter a lot of non-communication or miscommunication with
Um,
offers?
I would say delays with the offers. Like I'll send in like this property, for example, we sent them an offer and it just took them a while to respond. They responded like 24 hours later, and
But did
gave
they
us their
acknowledge
response.
right away that they received the offer?
No, even though I text them, even though I text them and I told them that I just sent the offer over, and I asked them to
Yeah,
check their mailbox, they still didn't respond until 24 hours later, and they responded to my email. They didn't respond to my text.
that's
So,
not good.
yeah.
So
So,
yes,
like again,
agents out there. At least I think
no,
the minimum is to acknowledge receipt right away.
yeah. At
You
least
know,
say, hey, look, I got your email, I got your offer, or
yeah,
whatever.
send a text,
All
send
right.
an email, confirm when receiving email, respond,
Yeah,
received, thank you. We'll get back to you after, basically either we
yeah.
present or if it's a co-op after we do our due diligence and then shoot a text as well. Why not? The more the better, you know?
Yeah, I think we just have to have a little more communication while we're going through the transaction from the beginning to
Yeah,
the end. Sometimes what happens is once we lock in a deal, everyone disappears. Or here's the kicker. Here's the type of people that I enjoy, right? When they're
yeah,
constantly pressing you to get something completed on your end, right? But this is also like everyone says it's like the ball's in your court. So it's like a basketball game, ball's going back and forth. So
yeah,
when it comes down to their client having to take care of something and I complete my task and give it back to them, they disappear. So whenever they were done, they were texting or calling me consistently. Hey, was this done?
right,
Was this completed? Hey, was this done? Was this completed? And the minute it gets completed and now we need something from there and it's like poof, they disappear. All
yeah,
of a sudden you can't get a hold of them until they finally get what they need and then they respond. So I would just say
wow,
in those instances, regardless of what the matter is, if you're ever on that end, try not to be an annoying agent, right? Like you're asking, hey, was this completed? And if someone says, hey, as soon as it's completed, I'm going to get right back to you. I know
wow,
we hate hearing that, but at the end of the day, there's so many moving parts that we don't know when the client is going to meet with the attorney to sign contracts. We don't know when they're going to complete applications. We don't know when they're, going to make the decision on who the inspector is going to
right.
be. We don't. So there's so many of
And
that
then,
that's moving
yeah,
parts.
there are so many other stuff I could discuss when it comes to even on co-op applications. I know how the listing agents handles the application with the buyers. There's so many
Mhm.
things to even like that to me would make a lot of sense and would be common courtesy and
Yeah.
a lot of miscommunication and lack of communication, which is that most of the time makes are making things more difficult, And
Yeah.
in conclusion, because I don't want us to stay like an hour just
No.
ranting, it's I
Yeah.
think we need to now that commissions are decoupled, there is no more discussions of commissions on MLS. We have to directly communicate with the agents, listing agent and buyer's agent. Let's really be more mindful about how we communicate with one another. Let's be more mindful on how we treat one another,
Yeah.
you know,
I agree.
because we have to go through this change. There is this period of adjustments. I'm seeing a lot of people panicking. The old
Yeah.
timers are every day I'm hearing, for the last 30 years, I didn't do it like that. I know you didn't do it like this, but it is what it is,
Yeah. Listen,
right?
we're elevating ourselves to do a better job.
Yeah,
This is now forcing us to I guess address the services that we're giving and providing and what we're charging. It's just a line of communication. It's
yeah,
clarity, right? Like now we have a clear understanding of what is going on, and now no one can go and say, hey, so and so took advantage of me and they did this.
yeah.
You know, it's all on paper. Everyone is protected. So we'll see. We'll see how the changes unfold.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for this. I think it's
Thank you,
it's
Dee.
it's important to remind each other sometimes to just let's do the right thing, like it's a tough business. Let's not be ruthless.
Yeah.
Let's not cutthroat. Let's not burn bridges to get ahead. It doesn't pay,
No, it
right?
does not.
All right.
And But
Thank you.
guys,
Enjoy the rest of your day in the boondocks.
yeah, I'm gonna go over here
Yeah,
and chop some logs.
yeah, I know. I mean, where am I? Where am I right now? East Meadow. Yes,
East
East Meadow.
Meadow. East Meadow's nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have an office there. Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
You know,
All
yeah.
right. Well,
All right.
folks, enjoy your weekend. And if you're around the Howard Beach area, come check us out. We're going to be running open
What
houses
do you
anyway.
have in Howard Beach?
We have a 1 bedroom that was under contract, but the buyer's application was
Oh,
denied. So now we're
yeah.
going back on the market. Isn't
Okay,
that fun?
I'll check a minute and see. I have an agent who really works Howard Beach a lot, so I'll make
Yeah.
sure he sees, he checks out
Send
your
them
listing.
by. We're going to be there Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, cool. All
All
right.
right, peeps.
Thank you,
Have a good
everyone.
weekend. Peace.
Ciao. Peace.